Hey everyone, it's Erik again. I want to talk about the cognitive functions since I see that a lot of people in this group seems to love the cognitive functions. I want to mention that when I've operated with the Carl Jung's eight cognitive functions, I have operated with three different theories. And the first theory, the most popular theory I see people use is that we use one cognitive function at one point of time. We either use introverted intuition or extroverted feeling, or introverted thinking or extroverted sensing. We don't use two or more functions together at the same time. And what tends to happen is we send energy from one to the other, activating each one's independently. And when we activate one, another one deactivates. Now, I don't think this is the case. I don't think this is actually true. I think this might be true in some situations. I think it's true when we are alone, when we are reflecting. We can only consciously perceive one function as different from all others when we are alone and in a setting where we can really go in depth on things, down to the core nuances. In social situations and in more intimate settings, some kind of chemic reaction happens that kind of changes how we access the cognitive functions. And what I believe happens is we start using two cognitive functions simultaneously. So we use introverted intuition and extroverted feeling at the same time. So these kind of mold together in our interaction, and on the outside, like nobody can tell if we are using one more than the other. Because they are molded together. We need them to articulate and express ourselves. So it's very hard in those situations to distinguish between one or the different cognitive functions from one another. So what happens is a person uses introverted intuition and extroverted feeling simultaneously, and then maybe goes in back inside, and the people see them using introverted intuition and introverted thinking simultaneously. So you never really spot them independently. And I believe the third theory, the third interesting thing that happens is when we are in a bigger group. When we are in a crowd, some bigger chemical reaction happens, and at that point we use all our four conscious functions at the same time. In bigger crowds, at parties, and in situations like where we are very outgoing and when we are group creatures, people see us using four functions at the same time. In that situation, there is no real conflict between introverted intuition and extroverted sensing, because we have this there is this chemical reaction that happens, and in our reactions it all molds together, and people only see the whole sum of the parts, not the parts in themselves. Now, I'm not saying one of these theories are correct. I'm saying they are correct or different perspectives, and that we can see these different perspectives in different situations. And I want this theory to clarify that, well, you don't have to nitpick or narrow down so much in particular situations. Understand that, well, introverted intuition and extroverted sensing aren't total opposites. There are some areas where these functions actually coincide and coexist peacefully inside your psyche. Um, how do we, what happens when you use introverted intuition and extroverted sensing at the same time? Well, I think somebody who has both these functions in a group tends to be autonomous. It tends to be a person who likes to work to take on independent roles compared to the other people in the group. While people who use extroverted intuition and introverted sensing tend to show more collaborative group behavior. So in bigger groups, somebody with extroverted intuition and introverted sensing tends to go from being like only using introverted sensing or only using extroverted intuition to collaborating and working together with other people to gather information and to share information and to discuss how information should be stored. And extroverted feeling and introverted thinking, I think, creates that elaborative group behavior. The elaborative person becomes that person who tries to explain how things work all the time. And then the extroverted thinking and the introverted feeling type becomes the applicative, the practical type, the one that shows, okay, this is how we do it, this is what we do, this is how we get it done. So this is how these groups, these functions change from situation to situation. At least this is my theory. I'm not sure how it actually works. Nobody really does, but feel free to share your opinion on this matter. Thank you for watching.